Welcome, Umar here. Just a quick video. I just at my office right now, and I was listening to training by Mr. Holton Buggs, okay, number one income earner in all of network marketing. And I can tell you this training had a lot of impact on me. He did it back in 2011. It's a millionaire mentorship call back in 2011. Most of you were not in the business yet, myself included. And I can tell you, this will change your life. So stay tuned, take notes, and take notes.
Blog Talk Radio.
Annual Hurricane in Houston, Texas.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, we have individuals that are dialing in. I heard one of our diamonds, an incredible champion, Mr. Emmanuel Bernstein. Definitely welcome on the phone as well out of Houston, Texas, ladies and gentlemen. We want to make sure you're properly prepared for tonight, so you want to make sure that you go grab a pad, a pen, get yourself in an area where you're going to be able to definitely take some incredible notes tonight, because literally the gentleman that I'm about to bring online tonight really doesn't even need an introduction. Anybody understands this company, Organo Gold. This gentleman's name is synonymous with success, has become a millionaire maker in this company as well. So, again, I'm going to go ahead and open the lines back up while we still have a few more moments. Please get a chance as you enter the line and you announce your name and city you're calling from. Make sure you hit *6 to go ahead and mute out or use the function on your phone. So, again, hey, do me a favor. If you're on the moderator line, just get a chance to make sure you mute out real quick. So let's go ahead and get this call started tonight. My name is Chris Oliver out of Houston, Texas. And first and foremost, I do want to say to you, I am not your featured speaker tonight, but we have a gentleman that literally really doesn't need introduction online tonight. I've known this gentleman for more than a decade, and let me just share some with you. To me, it's important when your reputation and what you've built and the numbers and the documentation, when that literally precedes you. I had a chance to meet this gentleman basically because of the numbers that he had produced in the networking industry. Now, in addition to that, I looked at all the individuals that he had helped to train, teach, coach, and literally had created a success path, ladies and gentlemen. And one of the things that I've run into a lot of people when they get ready to tell me how great they are, and let me share some with you. The one question I always ask is really not how are you doing, but how many people have you helped to duplicate exactly what it is that you've done. Most people stop at that point. But when I had a chance to sit down with this gentleman, he started naming names, and it was one after the other, and it wasn't because he was doing that to impress me. He was just impressing upon me all the individuals that had created success. A lot of them had never had any major success before in this industry, and to me, that was important to know, because literally, when you're going to have someone who's leading the way, somebody who's going to be that quarterback, somebody who's the coach that's going to actually call the playbook out, you want to have an individual that can give that information concise and clear. So let me share this with you. He has a heart of gold, ladies and gentlemen, willing to reach out and help anybody who literally has the work ethic, drive, and desire, but on top of it, understand this industry 100% to the degree that they've elevated this gentleman to the VP of sales for Organo Gold, ladies and gentlemen. In addition to that, he loves to have a great time. I had a chance to be able to hang out with him a little bit when I be able to be around somebody who, is not just about the wealth and success that he's been able to have, and definitely he has done that, but to have a pleasing personality, somebody who has a great time, somebody who's a great family man, but on top of it is a consummate professional in this business. This gentleman has literally become a millionaire maker. He was featured in the billionaire edition of the Millionaire magazine for how many other individuals that he has also helped to have success. So, again, I don't want to hold him back from you any longer. Please help me present the some and introduce to others none other than the VP of sales, literally the one and only out of Houston, Texas. This is none other than Mr. Holton Buggs. Are you online with us, partner?
Man, I tell you, Chris, I wouldn't miss it for the world, man. I want to thank you so much for your energy, your passion, enthusiasm, bringing me on this call here, and actually teeing it up, hosting, taking all the introductions. I want to welcome everybody to this call as well. It's amazing just to hearing all those voices and everybody who's announcing different cities and states where they're calling in from. And for those of you who this is your first time, maybe it is, we want to give you a special welcome to this call. This is every Sunday night, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. This is the Millionaire Mentorship training call, and you can always count on this call being here every single Sunday night. And so if you're part of Organo Gold, or if you're just checking us out, maybe somebody said, hey, listen, we want to show you the big picture. Let's jump on this training call even before you get started. This is something you want to set your calendars to, set your telephones alarms to, that you want to go ahead and jump on early, secure yourself a line. I want to also welcome all of those who are dialing in on the web. We've got many people. Actually, we typically have hundreds and hundreds who actually are dialing in on the web as well from the internet, and many who jump in on the telephone line. So obviously, ladies and gentlemen, we're entering another era of OG that is just completely unprecedented. I know I've been away from this call here for a couple of actually a few sessions here, but I know we've had some great, I don't want to call them stand-ins, we've got some great trainers and people who are either in the process of creating their first million with OG, or who've at least created some extreme success in the industry, who've had a chance to be on these calls and really taking the information to everyone here. So thanks to all of those people, but also congratulations again to all of you first-timers that's on here. Guys, I can just say I'm fired up, I'm pumped, I'm excited. I leave tomorrow to go to Miami, flying out to Miami, Florida. John Securus, Blanca Securus, myself, and my wife, we're flying out tomorrow, going all the way to Miami for the final. This will be the last Ruby retreat that we will have in OG, the last Ruby retreat. And when we say that word retreat, I know some people take that as, okay, well, it's going to be a lot of fun, hanging out, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. Well, yes and no. But no, that's not what the purpose of it is. It is a leadership event. This is a leadership training, and what we're going to do this week here, and I'll talk a little bit about it, about how you can get yourself prepared for the next one. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about how to really become a millionaire, how to think like a millionaire, how to go out there and create yourself an attraction, create that attraction within you so that people are attracted to you with everything that it is that you do. People ask me all the time about how hard I work. Well, I did. I worked extremely hard on improving the Holton Buggs that I knew I could be. I worked extremely hard on my belief level. I worked extremely hard on my skill level. I worked extremely hard on just my confidence level. Why? Because I knew that those things that I worked real hard on me. See, this business is an easy and simple business once you get you out of the way. And so, ladies and gentlemen, see, the art of becoming a millionaire is not how hard you work. I know that there's people right now who, not even rubies, who work harder than I do, who worked harder in Organo Gold for the last year than I have ever worked. And I applaud them for hard work. But, ladies and gentlemen, if hard work would allow you to become a millionaire, then many of your grandparents would have left millions to you. Because we know, all of us know, that many of us had grandparents and great-grandparents who worked hard all of their entire lives, only to leave you with what? With the bills that they weren't able to pay. And so one of the things that I did find out, I have found out what that secret was, if you will, that has actually allowed people to transform themselves from where they used to be, maybe down in debt, wherever it is. And I can't say where it is that you are. And I hate to say even that just because you get involved in OG and the only way to become a millionaire is to be broke before when you get in. That's not the case. I mean, look at Rock Smith over there, who came in here doing extremely fine, but found his passion and become a diamond in his company, the number one lifestyle that you'll ever have in the world. But my story is, when I got involved in networking, I was $250,000 in debt. This is not necessarily got involved in networking, but when I actually started to become serious about becoming full-time in networking, I was $250,000 in debt. I was 45 days away from foreclosure. I had just had my car repossessed. Back then I had two cars. I had a Lexus and I had a Hoopty. And they repossessed my Lexus. Why? Because, they don't repossess cars that the notice paid on. They don't repossess cars that you own the title to. They repossess cars when there is a money challenge of them getting the money from you to pay that note. and they repossessed my car, and they were about to foreclose on my house. I was 45 days away from foreclosure. And I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I'll never forget looking in the mirror saying to myself how much of a champion I knew I was. And I saw all of these other people, and I tell you, I got very envious sometimes. It's just the truth. I got very envious when I go to the grocery store and I see somebody with a full basket of groceries and they're paying cash, and I'm sitting over there like, wow, I'd like to be able to afford some steaks too. And I was wondering, what is that person doing? Okay? And I look at somebody who, who had a Lexus and mine was taken. And I look at somebody who's driving a Lexus and they didn't seem like they were, frowning, and they didn't seem like they were stressed out at all. And I just look in their eyes, and I'm just sitting there wondering, what is the difference between them and what's the difference between me? And I don't know. Maybe they could have been struggling well, and they just could have been masking it, hiding it. I didn't know. And I never forget, I watch television, and I look at some of the athletes there, and I think about them going home to their family and knowing that, everything is going to be taken care of when they get home, and their lights are going to be on. Because many times not many times, but it was a couple times that I came home, and I was hoping and praying when I got to that corner, that stop sign, that when I looked to the left at the porch light that I had left on in the morning, which was my signal to let me know whether or not I was walking into a house of darkness or walking into a house with lights, I was hoping and praying that that light was going to be on. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I started looking around and I started wondering. I had a chance to reflect on myself. And when I saw somebody else, it was always something because I was sizing everybody up. Here it was. I had gone to school. I had gone to college. I had gotten real good grades. I'd actually done exactly what my mother told me to do. I had done what the American dream, the so-called American dream, I had completed all of that. I had done all of that. And here it is. I've got to tell my wife, no, honey, we can't get cheese on those burgers. We just got to go get burgers without cheese. Why? Because that cheese was an extra 25 cents. And that 25 cents to me made a big difference. It made a huge difference. No, we can't go out and eat out where we have to have a server, because if we have a server, we're going to have to pay them a tip. Let's just go somewhere where they're going to serve out food real fast, okay, if we were going to go out and eat. And I'm sitting there thinking, what is the difference between those people who can go sit down and have a good meal, okay, and myself? I'm a grown man. I'm living in America. And I'm sitting here and I'm frustrated, and it's paycheck to paycheck, running out of money before I run out of month. And I'm sitting there and I'm frustrated, and I'm wondering, what is it that separates me from freedom? And see, ladies and gentlemen, me becoming a millionaire was not about being able to afford all of these nice cars. It's not about being able to, to live in this palatial mansion or some type of just castle-like home. That's not what it's all about. All those things are great. Yeah, those things are great and they're fun. It's not about being able to, just to eat out in the finest restaurants in the world and be able to fly first class if that's what you choose to do. It's not about that at all. Okay? But what it was for me, ladies and gentlemen, it was just about freedom. It was just about having a peace of mind. It was just about knowing for a fact that I didn't have to limit myself, because I can tell you, I know for a fact, and this is how it was when I was there. When you're broke, it builds on your negative self-image, because every time you say to your wife, or every time you say to your kid, or say to yourself you can't afford something, you're denying the champion that you really thought you were. And what you're doing is you're suppressing that person inside. And so what I had to do was I had to find out where that person was, that champion that I knew I had inside of me, and I had to go get that guy. And ladies and gentlemen, see, that's what this Ruby Retreat is all about. It's not going down to Miami and hanging out, because we're not going to be hanging out. And I know we got some of the Rubies thinking, oh, yeah, this is going to be a fun trip. Yeah, it might be. But ladies and gentlemen, what my goal is this here. Okay? When we talk about capturing 1% of the coffee industry, when we're talking about getting, that means $125 million a month of coffee sales that's going to be flowing through our organization. When we're talking about $62.5 million a month, $62.5 million per month, not per year, per month, that's going into the bank accounts of those people potentially who are on this line. That's just when we hit 1%. What about when we hit 2%? That's $125 million a month going through the people who are sharing in this opportunity, many of you on this line. And what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, is the number one consumed product in the world. Okay? The number one consumed product, okay? Commodity in the world. And what we're talking about is building yourself a permanent income from now to the end of time. I understand what it's going to take. Okay? I understand who you're going to have to become. And so that is the purpose of the leadership retreat. That is the purpose of us taking this time, setting some time aside, and going to be sharing with people in a closed, protected environment. When I say protected environment, is that we're not letting the world come in there and be a distraction. That is the reason why we put it at Ruby and above right now. Why? We applaud the Sapphires, we applaud the consultants and the supervisors and the marketing associates. We applaud those of you who just got started tonight. But one of the things I can tell you is this, ladies and gentlemen, okay? If you've been around this business for at least 90 days, okay, and you hadn't hit Ruby, you'll be a distraction to everybody who's going to be there. Now, I want you to take that in the right spirit and understand that your turn is coming. See, you're only 90 days away from becoming a Ruby. I don't care if you just got started tomorrow. 90 days away from becoming a Ruby. Really 60 days if you really make a decision, 60 days from becoming a Ruby. The gentleman who introduced me, Chris Oliver, got started in this business, knocked out Ruby in his first 28 days. He got Ruby done. Okay? And so what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, so many people have been able to do it. Cosmos Magembe, one of our diamonds that we've got. Guess what Cosmos did? He went diamond went Ruby in 23 days. He's going to be there at this Ruby retreat. So one of the things I can look back on is this year. I was taking a look at some pictures that were sent to me. There were 27 pictures when we did our Sapphire and Above leadership training. 27 pictures that I just received. Okay? And all those people who were Sapphires at that time, okay, every single one of them who are still here in the business, okay, have moved on to Ruby, Emerald, or Diamond, or Blue Diamond. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, what we're talking about, there's a difference because, see, there's a mindset of why a person becomes a champion in this business or why a person just coasts. Why a person goes from company to company to company from company, looking for the next comp plan, looking for the next deal, looking for the next opportunity. And there's a difference of why what we've been able to do is by developing these leaders. And I have leaders who come in from other companies who come in to take a look at what's happening, and they're amazed that, you know what, they walk into the room, they see nobody that they recognize, nobody who's got any name recognition in the industry whatsoever. And they said, how in the world are these guys making this type of income? Well, I don't even know who they are. They've never been an XYZ company. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, one of the key reasons is because of what we're going to accomplish and what we're going to teach and with the information that's going to be given at the Ruby retreat. Okay? And so many of you right now probably don't even understand, if you didn't work hard enough to get it done, you probably don't understand what it is that you're missing out on. This will be the last Ruby retreat. Because from now on, Ruby qualifications won't be there. And the reason being is this: I love my Rubies, but for the next one, from where we're going, remember, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get 1%. We're going to capture and get a $62.5 million worth of commissions per month paid to the distributorships that we have at Organo Gold. We're going to get that done. Project 50,000, ladies and gentlemen, when we set that off in Atlanta, look what has happened since then. Okay? We've got our first person who's coming to this Ruby retreat coming as a diamond. Mr. Ed Hartley's coming to his first leadership training as a diamond. Okay? Can you imagine going diamond without having the knowledge and access to what we're going to talk about? And then getting that knowledge at the diamond level, this guy's going to be absolutely dangerous when he gets back to Atlanta. Okay? And so what we're talking about is this, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot put a price tag. I know some of you probably count the cost of what it's going to cost you. And that's what we're going to talk about at that Ruby retreat. And I'm not going to get into it, but see, there's something that's a difference between cost versus price. Cost versus price. Okay? And I sent an email out to the leaders about what the cost of admission was or the price of admission for it. But some of you may look at, well, man, I had somebody who told me, who sent Jennifer, my assistant, they sent her a notice and say, well, the hotel cost is too expensive because we registered late. We registered a little late, and we can't get the group discount. And I think the group discount is $219 per night because we're at the Ritz-Carlton. I think the regular rate is like $300 a night, so that's a $71 difference. Because, see, what they're looking at is the price. They're looking at the price tag. Because all of us have been conditioned when we go shopping, what we do and what we've done is we've looked at the price, and the price sometimes determines what it is that we buy. We don't get what we want. We get what the price tag says that we can afford. And ladies and gentlemen, because they don't understand and they've never been to a Ruby retreat, what they've just done is they have made one of the biggest mistakes in their professional networking career, in my opinion. Because, see, it's not the price tag. It's going to cost them literally hundreds of thousands of dollars between now and the next 6 months. I'm not talking about over a lifetime. I'm talking about over the next 6 months. See, that's what the cost is. And so instead of them paying an extra $71 per night for a room, okay, $71 a night for a room, they're going to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for that event. See, ladies and gentlemen, that event will always have a cost. There will always be a payment associated with that event, whether you go or whether you don't go. It's always cheaper when you go. It's called paying in advance. Those of you remember the commercial, if you're old enough, the Fram oil filter. The Fram oil filter was known for saying, pay me now or pay me later, but you are going to pay. Pay me now or pay me later, but ladies and gentlemen, you will pay. I want you to understand something, okay? The price for success is not really a price, okay? But if you omit or if you leave out or are not willing to pay the price for success, you will inherently or by default always pay the price for failure. Always pay the price for failure. And ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand the price for success is temporary. The price for failure is generational. It's permanent. When I think about it, ladies and gentlemen, see, my dad, who I love, and I love him very dearly, he had opportunities just like me, and guess what? He just chose not to pay the price. My mom, she had opportunities just like me while she lived in America, no excuses whatsoever. And I love them, but, they had an opportunity, and they did not pay the price for success. My granddad and some of my great-greats and different people that I know of, and what has to happen is this. What we're asking you is this, is that are you going to be that person who's going to stop that seed of mediocrity in your family? Is it going to stop with you? I'll never forget when I made a decision. I was 18 years old when I made this decision. I had just got involved in network marketing. I had just got recognized at one level for doing $500 in volume for that month. And I'll never forget, they gave me the microphone, let me go up on stage and announce my name. And here I was, this 18-year-old kid, didn't even know how to tie a tie, really never really had nice suits, didn't have anything nice going for him. I'm a college student, a broke college student. And I never forgot, I got on stage, and I can remember it as bright as day right now, when I said to everybody in that audience that I will stop and I will be the last of the broke Buggses in my family. And I don't know where it came from. I don't know where. I had never thought of that goal or dream before, and I guess that's why they call it inspiration. And ladies and gentlemen, you know what? For 7 years after that, I paid the price. because I was in that company for 7 years. I hit that pin level 3 separate times in 7 years. That means that, I said $500 in volume. It was $1,000 in volume. I did $1,000 in volume for the month. My total group, not me personally, my total group mustered up enough sales to do $1,000 in sales for the month 3 separate times in 7 years. I never got above that, 3 separate times. But, ladies and gentlemen, I was attending events, and I was sitting all the way in the back. And I never forget coming to events and never being able to get in with people who didn't have to wait in line. And I stand in line, and I fight, and we push each other because we put a premium on the front seats. And I always have to share rooms with about 22 other people. And I did that for 7 years. I never missed an event that I qualified to attend. I never forget, if they told me, Holton, listen, our next convention is on the moon. Well, I was going down to 45 South, going to NASA. Why? Because I was going to find out what I had to do to get me a ticket. Did I have to pay in advance? Did I have to become an I was going to get to that event, and I was paying the price. And I look back on it, people thought I was crazy. People thought that I was doing things, and I never forget my professors thought at that time, Holton, you're out of your mind. You need to be focused on becoming an engineer. You're smart. You're intelligent. They were selling me on being mediocre. See, they were selling me on using only 5% of what's needed to become successful. They were selling me on using my intelligence or my intellect. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't have to be smart to become rich. You don't. And I never forget, there was something in my spirit that told me, don't buy it. Don't buy it. Keep paying the price. Keep paying the price. And I can tell you, my wife, she wanted a new car at the time. We got married early. I was 21 years old. When we got married, she wanted a new car. Guess what? I didn't buy a new car because I knew if I bought a new car, I wouldn't have been able to afford to go to the next event. And I put all of my money, everything that I had, I made sure my business got fed first. And here I was, I'm feeding this business that's not producing any results whatsoever. I mean, when I say no results, ladies and gentlemen, in 7 years, I never profited more than $500 per month, and I only did 500 3 separate times. Those were the 3 separate times that I did over $1,000 in volume. $500 is what my commission checks were, never more than $500. But see, when I was in it at that time, it seemed like the journey was so long. It seemed like, man, this was the walk of forever. It seemed like, it was permanent. That, man, if it took me 7 years, or let's just say here, I'll never forget, for me to hit that level, I did it in 5 months. It took 5 months for me to hit the what they call 1,000 pin level. It took 5 months for me to do $1,000 in business. Okay? And I never forget thinking, man, if it took me 5 months to do 1,000, see, that next level of recognition in that company was 2,500. Here it was, man, 5 months for me to do 1,000, and I'm sitting there, and the only reason I did 1,000 was because the company came out with some kind of alarm system that they were putting on sale, and me and several people in my group that I encouraged to go out there and make sure that we buy an alarm system. Go out there and buy one. Didn't have anything for people to steal. The car that I had was, I don't think anybody wanted to steal that one. But we bought it anyway, and here it was. I did 1,000, and I'm sitting back and I'm extrapolating the numbers and thinking, if it's taking me 5 months to do that, wow. And I really didn't do it with a solid, stable group because the next month, instead of 1,000, I probably fell back maybe to around $400 in volume. That's really where I was. And so I'm thinking, okay, 5 months to get 1,000, then maybe it's going to take me, maybe another 8 months to do 2,500. Never got there. And see, one of the first levels of leadership recognition in that company was $7,500 in volume. And ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you, $7,500 to me was no different than what most of you think about going Crown Ambassador Diamond in Organo Gold. It was so insurmountable. It was so far away. But what I was doing is, I was paying that price. And I'll never forget, because I hit that 1,000 pin level, they called the 1,000 and above leadership training the next time. Okay? But they said, you've got to hit it current. You've got to be current. You've got to hit it this year. This is the next year. And you know what I did, ladies and gentlemen? I rose to the occasion. And I hit that 1,000 pin level again. Why? Because, see, there was a leadership training, and I don't care what it was. I didn't go there to have fun. Okay? And I never forget what that 1,000 and above leadership training right here in Houston, Texas, Columbia Lakes Resort, okay, down 59 South. I can remember this vivid, bright as day. This is about 18 years ago, 18 years ago, Columbia Lakes Resort. Okay. And I'll never forget what because I did whatever it was that I had to do when I got in that environment. And I had my tape recorder, and I had my pen, and I had my pads. And you know what? They had people who were going there to play golf, and other leaders who were going there to, just to hang out by the pool, and some played tennis because it was at a resort. And see, I had no expectations whatsoever of what to take place. But number one, I didn't have any money for golf. I didn't have any money for tennis. But what I did have is this: I had money for batteries and the TDK cassette tapes, which I was going to use to record. And I'll never forget, I took my little bonus check that I had, and I went, and that was going to be an all-weekend leadership retreat. And I'll never forget, and I took my bonus check, and I went out and bought TDK tapes. And ladies and gentlemen, I still have those tapes today. I still listen to those tapes today. While everybody else was out there playing and having fun, and I'll never forget, see, our upline Diamond at that time was performing this leadership training. And I want to give you some examples, and this is not selling this leadership training. That's not what we're selling, because the qualifications, most of them were already due for last month. I'm letting you know, giving you a premium on information, because none of this stuff I plan to train on tonight, but most of you know me. Give me a microphone, give me the stage, give me the opportunity to talk, and something don't fly out of my mouth, and 9 times out of 10 it has nothing to do with what I plan to say anyway. But I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, what the difference is between winners and people who don't win. And I look back right now, all those people who were my champions, and I'll never forget those people at that time. They had people who were like rubies. And a ruby would walk next to me, and I'd shake because I was like, what am I going to say to him? I don't want to look him in the eye because that's a ruby, man. That person's making $5,000 a month, but I can't talk to that person. I'm just the little 1,000 guy on, 1,000 pin level. Guys, this is the truth. Most of you see me right now. You see, suave, debonair Holton comes out on stage, look like it's real easy for him to speak and all of this kind of stuff. You have no idea where I come from. You have no idea why I am the person I am today. I wasn't born this way. Leaders aren't born, ladies and gentlemen. They're developed. See, I was going through Eagle School at every one of those events. I didn't go to play. I went to get fed. I went because I knew at that time our upline Diamond was going to be speaking. And all I will remember is that every time that we go to an event, it will be people from other organizations that will be flocking around him with tape recorders in his mouth. I mean, they put those tape recorders so close to his mouth. And so I saw how they valued what I had right here in my own backyard. And I went because I just knew there was something that he was going to say that I was going to be able to get, and I was going to internalize what he was going to say, and I was going to go diamond. Okay? That's what I was going to do. I was going to go diamond. And I would leave those trainings, and I'd have all my tapes, and I'd be so excited and so proud that I got my tapes and I got all the information that my upline Diamond talked about. Okay? And I'd go out and I'd share the plan because I was excited. I was fired up. And I'd share the plan again, and I'd share it some more. And I just continued sharing that plan, and I was rebuilding my belief. And guess what? I still wasn't making any money. Okay? I still wasn't making any money at that time. $500 a month for me was a big month. Okay? Huge month for me. And I went over there and I learned sometimes the power of affirmations. I'd heard about it, but they told me, hey, write all your goals down. But I'll never forget, ladies and gentlemen, at one of those leadership retreats, okay, I'll never forget, my upline diamond spoke about a book. He spoke about a book, and he opened up the training talking about a book called The Master Key to Riches. And he started talking about and edifying this book. He was edifying this book and talking about this book as if he was getting royalties from talking about this book. And I'm wondering, why is he talking about this book so much? What's so significant about this book? And he's sitting there and he just continued to talk about the book. And ladies and gentlemen, I was paying my dues. And I'd go to another event, and guess what? And I'd get my tape recorder, and I'd sit my tape recorder there. And here it was. I did this for 7 years. 7 years. But 18-plus years ago, the Master Key to Riches was introduced to Holton Buggs. I didn't know what it meant at that time. I had no idea the significance of the words that were in that book, and it wasn't the words, but I had no idea the significance of the connection that I would make some years later and how those words, that I would actually internalize those words, and I'd make a part of that book a part of my core belief system. See, I don't get impressed when I hear all these, not necessarily just leaders, but when I hear people talking about how many books they've read. So what? I'd rather for you to read one book over and over and over and over and over again, and you master one or two ideas or concepts from that book than for you to come and think that you're impressing me by telling me you read 52 books last year. So what? It just means that you can count. But I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, the difference between price versus cost. Price versus cost. I go to other events, and next thing you know, I've been hearing more about this book. And I was introduced, obviously, to Think and Grow Rich. I was introduced to that book. Okay. And then in 1995, 5 years into that business, I matured a little bit. I picked up the book for I don't know how many times more, and I read it again. Why did I read it? Because you know what? My upline did 1,000 and above leadership training again. 1,000 and above leadership training. And I went to that 1,000 and above leadership training, ladies and gentlemen, again, because I did what I had to do, and this time I didn't have to buy the alarm systems to go out there and get it. I bought a vacuum cleaner. 2 of my other people bought vacuum cleaners. It was called the Clear Track. Those of you who are in that business know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to share something with you right now that happened. See, many of you right now, if you take a bag of apples and you cut them open, you take your knife and you slice that apple right down the middle, or take you an apple slicer. In the middle, you're going to see some little, brown things. They're called seeds. You can take those seeds and you can pluck them out one by one, and you can count the number of seeds that's in that apple. But ladies and gentlemen, the power of what most people don't understand, that right now that I'm on a mission to show and a mission to make happen with our 1% goal and 1% dream, is that you can't count the number of apples that are in one of those seeds. You don't know which seed is going to produce the apple. You don't know which training is going to produce the thought that's going to take you from where it is that you are into multi-millionaire status. And I'm not talking about millionaire for the sake of the income. I'm not talking about becoming a millionaire so that you can go out and buy all of this stuff. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, when you have that title next to your name of millionaire, especially in the network marketing industry, what it represents the number of kids that don't ever have to go to daycare anymore. It represents the number of mothers and fathers that get to go to the basketball games and get to go to the football games and get to go to that first ballet recital. And not only the first one, but the second one and the third one. It represents how many men that you've impacted that are sitting there and they're the only ones in that PTA meeting because all the other men are busy working. It represents the donations that have actually been given to different churches and different organizations and different communities that have come. Why? Because you went to a training. And see, for some of you right now, maybe you're brand new and all you're thinking about is, man, show me how to sell some coffee. I don't want to hear nothing about this millionaire stuff. I just want to sell some coffee. I need to get me about 5 or 10 customers, and that's what my goal is, just to get me a few customers. Well, we got a system for that as well. We're going to show you how to get some customers. Okay? But, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you that there's a bigger picture to what we're talking about. See, you just don't know what you don't know. Jonathan Tourist, I can tell you right now, our #1 volume producer. I never forget, went to Jamaica. He had $45 in his pocket when he went to Jamaica, ladies and gentlemen. When he got there, he didn't know the hotel room that he was going to stay in. He didn't even know how much it cost. You know why? It didn't matter. He couldn't afford it anyway. When you can't afford it, it doesn't matter if it's $1 too much or if it's $1 million too much. It doesn't matter. But he knew that he wasn't going to stay in a hotel room. He knew he wasn't going over there to eat food. He knew he wasn't going over there to party and socialize and go to the beach like so many people enjoyed the beach. And all of those people who really enjoyed the beach, I'm not criticizing them. Maybe that was their first time going. Guess what? It was Johnson Tourist's first time going as well. But now Johnson Tourist can actually afford to go buy beachfront property over there. Why? Because you can't count the number of apples that are within a seed. And Johnson Tourist came back inspired. I'll never forget, I saw him crying, and I saw the tear coming down his eye as he talked about the belief that he got because it was something that he got from that event, something. He didn't cash that one in. I'll never forget, I can see it very vividly right now. I'll never forget Dave Eminetti, who's a Blue Diamond in our company. I'll never forget seeing Dave Eminetti pull his group to the side, and that month he said, I'm going emerald. I'm going emerald. Right? Back then it was called national. And he pulled his group to the side, and all I can remember at that time, I remember seeing Andrea Blackley, and I remember seeing, one or two other people that I can just vividly remember. Everybody having fun, everybody dancing, but there was another person who got serious, and it was something that they saw. They were there. Blue Diamond. Blue Diamond, ladies and gentlemen. Blue Diamond. Jose Ardon, Blue Diamond in Organo Gold. Blue Diamond. I'll never forget, ladies and gentlemen, meeting Jose Ardon for the very first time. See, he didn't cash in an opportunity to be inconvenienced. At the George R. Brown Convention Center, Jose had just left. A gentleman by the name of Darrell told me about Jose, told Jose about me. Jose said he knew of me, but Jose was in another company. I didn't have Jose's phone number. Jose had already been around prospecting everybody at that convention center, and I had gotten there late already. Darrell happened to get on the phone and say, hey, listen, there's a gentleman here named Mr. Holton Buggs. He said, Mr. I know him. Jose got in his car. No, we didn't ask. I didn't ask him to. I'm just thinking I never met him. I'd never meet him. No big deal. He's just Jose to me. Next thing you know, 30 minutes later, this guy driven all the way. 30 minutes later, this guy made a U-turn from his home, came all the way back. Because somebody said there's somebody that you need to meet. Here it is. I see this guy, all 113 or 15 pounds of him. Jose wasn't the Jose that you know of today. The Blue Diamond Jose, the $1 million producer Jose, the $1 million earner this year Jose. That was not the Jose who was there, ladies and gentlemen. But because of the courage, and he didn't count what the cost was of going back to this convention center. He didn't count the cost of, okay, well, it's going to be inconvenient. He came back, and you know what? He gave me his card. And ladies and gentlemen, some people, when they tell me that they're excited about their own company, I very seldom call them because I'm not trying to tear down somebody else's company or whatever. And if you're happy, great. I'm happy too. So I'm excited. I believe there's room enough for many people to become wealthy in whatever company there is. But there was something. There was something about that meeting that I had with Jose, and it was only for about 4 or 5 minutes. He drove 30 minutes to meet me for 5 minutes because I didn't have any intentions on talking with him that much. First of all, he didn't speak much English. So it was going to be a very limited conversation anyway. Something inspired me. I called this young man, and never forget, this man told me one thing. He says, listen, I'm looking for a mentor in the industry. That's what's missing. I'm looking for a mentor. And he says, listen, right now, I'm making about $5,000 to $6,000 a month. He said, but I will leave it for the right mentor. He says, if you promise me that you will stay with me to 50,000 people, he says, I'll leave my current company. I'll join forces with you because I like the energy that I'm feeling. I'm looking at this little guy like he's crazy. What is he talking about? We don't have any energy. I've only been talking to you for 4 minutes. I haven't tried to sell you on my company. I didn't even tell you anything, but this is what happened. Okay? This is what happened. So, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm saying is this here. Look at it right now. 15 months later, Blue Diamond Consultant. Okay? Blue Diamond. 50,000 people is Jose's goal, and he's going to get there. Could you have counted and said that me going to the George R. Brown Convention Center was going to represent an additional 50,000 people in my group within the next 2.5 years from the time I went there? Nope. You say, well, what is that? That wasn't a Ruby retreat. Ladies and gentlemen, that has to do also with the law of attraction. It has to do with the things that I speak all the time, the affirmations that I have and the goals that I set for myself, that I'm always in the right place at the right time, and I always say the right things to the right people, and people are always attracted to Holton Buggs, and networkers and professionals are calling me all the time for me to personally sponsor them into my OG business. See, those are affirmations that I say all the time, and I get phone calls and phone calls and phone calls and people say, man, what are you doing to sponsoring all these people? I'm working smart. I keep running my mouth. I keep talking to myself. That's what I do. I'm not sending out leads. I don't have a business card. I hadn't had a business card in 11 years. I'm not blitzing out leads, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with any of that stuff. But what I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, is I learned some stuff that most people don't know. And if most people knew it, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, we'd have a line of diamonds. We'd have to say, hey, listen, we're only going to let the black diamonds, only going to let black diamonds in early, and all the blue diamonds and diamonds, y'all got to sit out there with the rest of the other people if everybody knew what I knew. But let me share something with you real quick, and maybe I may have time to get into some other stuff that I intended to talk about. No, I won't have any time to get into some other stuff. It's already 8:52, but I want to share something with you real quick. I'm going to read something to you. I just went out and went over and got this book, and I want to share with you what that leadership training meant to me. I want to share with you why, okay, why I did what I had to do to make those leadership trainings. Because they told me about that book and my upline diamond at that time, who was bigger than life to me. bigger than life. Okay? I was always a little hesitant and intimidated to get around him because, man, this is a diamond. You had no idea what a diamond represented, ladies and gentlemen. A diamond was just huge. A diamond was as if you owned Organo Gold, not a pen level, is that you owned Organo Gold. That's what a diamond represented to me at this time. And I remember I told you, he starts talking about that book, and he starts talking about, the Master Key to Riches. And remember, I told you I picked it up and I read it, and I started reading it, and I started paying my dues and paying the price and thinking, man, this thing is never going to happen the way it needs to happen. 1995 comes. Here it was. I got involved in networking in 1990. 1995 comes. I go to another leadership training, and he talks about the same book. This is my third leadership training. He's talking about the same book. I've already read this book. I've got no results from this book, but I'm working on certain things in this book, small things in this book, and I'm reading all these other books. But 1995, ladies and gentlemen, is when it turned around. Did my business turn around? No. After 1995, I never went over $1,000 in volume ever again in that company. And I was in that company from 1995, and I went 2 more years in that company actively working in that business. And 1995 was the last leadership training that I did. And after 1997, I was 97. I was out of that business. 1995, I graduated or finished college. I didn't graduate, but they told me I was done. And I started my company. But 1995 was the last leadership training, and I wasn't so active many months after that because finishing school and all of that stuff. And I started my company. But see, I did what I had to do to make it to that training. Many of you heard before what I'm going to read to you right now. I've got something to me that is my secular Bible, if you will. I've got something to me that means more to me, okay, of why I've been able to earn the type of income and be fortunate enough to be as blessed as we have been, not only financially but health-wise and association-wise, all around the industry, is because of what I got in 1995. In 1995, my upline diamond did another leadership training, and he referenced this book again. And he didn't talk about it as much as he talked about it the first time. But you know what? Something told me I need to go ahead and understand this book. I was now ready for this information. I was ready now. Sometimes you're not ready, ladies and gentlemen. You know what we say? We say success happens when opportunity and preparedness meet. The opportunity is always here. It's called OG. But you got to get prepared. See, I wasn't prepared. People succeeding all around me, people making money all around me. I'm wondering, what's wrong with me? I'm pretty sharp. I went to school. I can read. I can talk. I learned to dress. And I'm wondering, what's wrong with me? Why can't I succeed the way that these other people are succeeding? Why? Why isn't it happening for me like it's happening for them? It should happen for me like it's happening for them, but it wasn't. But I read The Master Key to Riches again, and I heard Napoleon Hill start talking about a definiteness of purpose. And I had read this book, and he had given an assignment to write down the definiteness of purpose, and I never did. But in 1995, something changed. Because I went to that leadership training, because I had paid the price, now I'm ready. See, it took me 7 years. It took me 5 years of preparation at least to get to the point to get here. I joined the company, like I said, I think in 1990 I joined it. And I wrote down my definiteness of purpose at this time, and I'm going to read to you the exact words that I have here so that you understand, ladies and gentlemen, why I get passionate when people tell me and they buy their own excuses about why they can't be at an event. Because what they're doing is they're buying themselves another year, 2 years of mediocrity. And that's why winners don't understand losers' talk. Winners don't understand the vocabulary of somebody who's accepting the possibility of losing. Excuses that losers give, and I hate to use that term losers because I tell my son don't call anybody that, but those of you know what I'm talking about, those who have the omission of winning in their lives, those who always work themselves all the way up and get to the middle. That's who I'm talking about, and you know who I'm talking about because that used to be me. I used to get all the way up to the middle, never get to the top, never experienced what it was like to be in first place. All I used to see all the time was tail lights and signal lights because I was chasing and always behind on my bills, behind on my dreams, behind on all the promises that I made to my family. But I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. And ladies and gentlemen, I paid the price, and I thought, man, that I was doing it. I thought I was working so hard. I thought that the laws of the universe of success were unfair to me. Because here I was, and I was so selfish thinking about all the work that I do and all the stuff that I do, and why isn't it happening for me like it's happening for somebody else? And here it was, 1995. These are the words that I wrote. In 1995, I'm 23 years of age. And it goes like this. It says, my definiteness of purpose is one which is simple in context, but involves steps which in the past were difficult. My plan shall improve over the course of my life. Understand, ladies and gentlemen, my plan shall improve over the course of my life, which meant that I understood now, at 23 years old, I had the maturity to understand that there was no such thing as immediate success, that there was no such thing as getting rich overnight. I understood that it was me, that success was going to be growing through me, and success was not going to happen to me. My plan shall improve over the course of my life, but 5 years is the maximum time I have set to accomplish this definite purpose. I understood, ladies and gentlemen, that I had to be specific and also give some time frames. I couldn't say, oh, it's going to happen one day. No, I gave myself 5 years. And here it is. I shall, within 5 years, develop the skills and habits that those before me have used to develop wealth and riches. These skills and habits are to be a possibility thinker, a do-it-now attitude, a server of people, to be closer, have a closer spiritual relationship with my God, to be well-disciplined in all my tasks, to make friends wherever I go, to have a commitment to continuity, to set an example for those to follow my lead, to speak the things which I don't have now but will have using these skills of which I speak, to set goals and develop plans to achieve them, and to work the plan until the job is done, to be the best that I can be. These skills and habits of which I speak will be contributing factors to my definiteness of purpose. I will be a diamond by or before August 31st, 2000, because it is the right thing to do. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to share something with you. This is my definiteness of purpose that I wrote to myself at the age of 23 years old. Okay? That I was going to be a diamond in that company because a diamond represented a lifestyle of obviously well more than six figures. A diamond represented freedom, that no longer would you have to work anymore. A diamond at that company, represented the security of your income. It represented many different things. But what I understood when the timing was right is I understood that I had to design the style of person that I knew I had to become so that I could attract the people in my life so that diamond would be the end result. I never worked harder. I didn't have to put more work in my business. As a matter of fact, once I understood and actually became these principles, I didn't have to work hard at all. And I still don't have to work hard consistently. Okay. But what I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, see, what happened had I not made an excuse for why I couldn't attend that event. I want you to think right now for a moment, for those of you who are in this business, for those of you who've only been there maybe a week, maybe you may not be able to relate to this. And I'm not saying this is not about Holton, so this is not a promotion for me or anything of that nature, so don't get that twisted. But what I am saying is this here. I want you to just think back, if you can, for 1 second. And what I want you to do is this. From the date that you were born, and as a matter of fact, let's not go back that far. From September the 22nd, 2008, until now, I want you to just kind of step back and look at that part of your life. And I want you to erase it. I want you to go ahead and take from what you were doing 2008, September the 22nd, and I want you to go ahead and pick it up minus Organo Gold. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I almost gave up. That's because I didn't understand at the time the future impact of my decisions. And so for those of you who sometimes get tired and don't want to go to the briefing, it might be that briefing that you might have to erase a portion of a whole lifestyle of thousands of people that you may have to just, you got to eliminate it. And see, that's what keeps leaders going. When people say, well, if you're making so much money, why do you keep doing it? You must not be making that much money, because, see, it becomes a lot greater than the money at some point in time. It becomes cause-driven. And when it becomes cause-driven, there's nothing that can stop a person who's on a mission. That's why this 1%, ladies and gentlemen, is a joke. This 1% is going to get done, not because we want $62.5 million a month. No, but because of what it represents, because of the number of people that we know for a fact that will be free. Why do we do this leadership training? We don't need to do that. We don't have to do that in order to make more money, but we have to do that to accomplish our goals, because we know the type of person that it's going to take to become a diamond in this company, because we need more faces on that diamond wall to get that 1%. And so for those of you who don't sometimes understand, and those of you who sometimes get in your own way, when your upline is talking to you, they're not talking to you because they need your volume for money. They're not talking to you because they need your presence for more body counts at these meetings. They're talking to you and letting you know some of these things because they know for a fact what would have happened to them had they cashed it in. What if your sponsor lost their dream before they got to you? Okay. And that's what I want you thinking about, ladies and gentlemen, because if you lose your dream, there's going to be a lot of people at some point in time. My belief is when you meet your maker, and you have that opportunity to look back and say, what goals didn't you go for? What challenges didn't you overcome? What people did you not stick your hand out to meet? What meetings did you miss? What functions and events did you cash in and that were so inconvenient? And then they show you a list of all the dreams. They walk you and take you into this room, and you see all the dreams, all the goals, all of the things that you could have played a role in helping people accomplish, and those things are still stored right there in that room with dust on them. And I'll close with this, ladies and gentlemen. The definition of hell is the person that you are one day meeting the person that you could have been. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we want to end this call. I'm so fired up. I'm so excited to go to the Miami Ruby Retreat. I can tell you, rubies, emeralds, especially diamonds, this training is for you. This ain't for the rubies. This ain't for the emeralds. They're going to be there in attendance. This is your training. Okay? Put your seatbelts on, ladies and gentlemen. Put your helmets on. Everybody bring your steel-toed boots because we're going to walk on some toes big time. We're going to have some fun. We got a mission that we got to go out there and get. We got to go out there and accomplish some stuff. We got some people to get free. We've got some people that we've got to retire, and we need you. We need your work to count. But that, remember, ladies and gentlemen, it's easy. It's simple. It's coffee. We'll see you guys tomorrow on the Coffee Break Call. Let's rock and roll. Those of you who won't be at the Ruby Retreat, make us proud. Have your biggest week ever while we're gone. See you at the top. Love you guys. See you at the top. Goodbye, everybody.